Throughout history, certain kings have shaped the world with their power and influence. Like the great rivers that carve canyons through solid rock over millennia, these individuals, through sheer will and circumstance, have sculpted the course of human civilization. Their reigns were not merely periods of time, but epochs defined by conquest, innovation, and enduring legacy. From the vast wind-swept steppes of Asia to the sun-drenched banks of the Nile, their stories are etched into the very fabric of our shared past, a testament to the extraordinary impact a single life can have on millions. Hello, my name is Viresh Patel, and today we embark on a historical journey, a safari through time. We will venture into the courts and onto the battlefields of antiquity to observe some of the most formidable rulers ever to have walked the earth. We shall explore the strategies, the ambitions and the environments that allowed these monarchs to rise, to dominate, and to build empires that, in some cases, have outlasted stone itself. This is a story of power in its most concentrated form. We will witness the raw, untamed force of the conqueror and the meticulous, patient construction of the Builder King. Each ruler we meet presents a unique strategy for survival and dominance in the complex ecosystem of human society. Their influence radiates outwards, much like the ripples from a stone cast into a still pond, affecting art, law, culture, and the very map of the world. So, let us begin our exploration into the lives of these titans of history. Our journey begins on the vast, unforgiving grasslands of Central Asia, a realm of harsh extremes. It is here, in this crucible of nature, that a new, dominant force emerged. His name was Temujin, but the world would come to know him as Genghis Khan. Born into a world of fractured, warring tribes, he displayed an unparalleled instinct for survival and leadership. He did not simply conquer his rivals, he assimilated them, forging a unified Mongol nation from a disparate collection of nomads, a social superorganism driven by a single, unyielding will. His military genius was a phenomenon of the natural world. The Mongol hordes moved across the land not as a clumsy, lumbering army, but as a perfectly coordinated pack of predators. Their cavalry, masters of the feigned retreat, were like a flock of starlings, turning and wheeling in perfect unison to envelop and overwhelm their prey. Genghis Khan's strategies were based on speed, discipline, and psychological terror, a devastatingly effective combination that brought mighty walled cities and ancient empires to their knees. He was the architect of the largest contiguous land empire in history. The scale of this conquest is almost difficult to comprehend. From the Pacific Ocean to the doorstep of Europe, his dominion grew. He established the Yam, a revolutionary postal and supply system, the arteries of his empire, ensuring communication and control over astonishing distances. While his campaigns were undeniably brutal, they also created the Pax Mongolica, a period of stability that reopened the Silk Road, allowing for an unprecedented exchange of goods, ideas, and cultures between East and West. The Khan's impact was like a tectonic shift, permanently altering the geopolitical landscape of the entire Eurasian continent. We travel now from the open plains to the opulent heart of 17th century Europe, to the Kingdom of France. Here, power was not measured in the expanse of conquered territory, but in the meticulous control of a nation's soul. This was the domain of Louis XIV, the Sun King. Ascending to the throne as a mere child, he would come to personify the very concept of absolute monarchy. His famous declaration, "L'État, c'est moi, I am the state," was no idle boast. It was the fundamental principle of his long and spectacular reign. Louis cultivated his power with the patience of a master gardener. He transformed the Palace of Versailles from a humble hunting lodge into the most magnificent royal court in Europe. This was not just a home, it was a gilded cage, a carefully designed habitat where the kingdom's powerful nobles were compelled to live under his watchful eye. Stripped of their regional power bases, they were reduced to competing for royal favor their energies diverted from plotting rebellion to mastering the intricate rituals of courtly life. It was a brilliant strategy of political domestication. From this glittering epicenter, the Sun King's influence radiated across the continent. French became the language of diplomacy, art, and high culture. His patronage of artists like Molière and Lully established a cultural dominance that rivaled his military ambitions. Through a series of carefully calculated wars and alliances, he expanded France's borders and profoundly shaped the balance of power in Europe for generations. Louis XIV demonstrated that a king's power could be projected not just by the sword, but by the sheer gravitational pull of wealth, style, and absolute authority. Our path now leads us back in time, to the ancient kingdom of Macedon. It is here we encounter a figure whose ambition seemed to know no bounds. A prodigy of war and vision, Alexander the Great. Tutored by the philosopher Aristotle, he possessed a mind as sharp as his sword. At the tender age of 20, he inherited his father's throne and a highly disciplined army. But where others saw a kingdom to maintain, Alexander saw a launching point for the conquest of the known world. He was a force of nature, a human tempest about to be unleashed upon the east. His campaign against the colossal Persian Empire is the stuff of legend. Outnumbered in nearly every major engagement, Alexander's tactical brilliance was simply unparalleled. At the battles of Issus and Gaugamela, he didn't just defeat his enemy, he dismantled them, using his phalanxes and cavalry with the precision of a surgeon. He led from the front, sharing the dangers of his men, inspiring a loyalty so fierce they would follow him to the very ends of the earth. His march was relentless, a testament to what a supremely motivated and brilliantly led force could achieve. But Alexander's legacy extends far beyond the battlefield. In the wake of his army, he founded over 20 cities, many named Alexandria, which became vibrant hubs of learning and commerce. He actively encouraged the fusion of Greek and local cultures, a policy that gave rise to the Hellenistic civilization. This remarkable synthesis of East and West would shape art, science, philosophy, and religion for centuries to come. Though his life was cut tragically short at the age of 32, the cultural seeds he planted grew into a forest that dominated the intellectual landscape of the ancient world. We now journey south to the fertile crescent of the Nile, the lifeblood of ancient Egypt. In this land of gods and mortals, one name is carved more deeply and more often than any other: Ramses II, often called Ramses the Great. His reign was not a brief, explosive conquest, but a long, enduring display of power and permanence, lasting an astonishing 66 years. He was not just a ruler, he was a living god, the chief architect of his own enduring myth, a pharaoh determined to make his mark for eternity. Ramses was a formidable military leader, most famously clashing with the Hittite Empire at the Battle of Kadesh. While the outcome was more a stalemate than a decisive victory, Ramses, a master of propaganda, returned to Egypt and decorated his temples with grand reliefs depicting himself as the triumphant, solitary hero. This narrative, repeated on stone across the land, cemented his image as the invincible protector of Egypt. He secured his borders and ushered in an era of stability and immense prosperity, allowing Egyptian civilization to flourish. It is in stone that his legacy is most tangible. No pharaoh before or since was a more prolific builder. He commissioned countless temples, monuments, and statues on a scale that beggars belief. From the colossal statues of himself at Abu Simbel, carved into a mountain to watch over his southern border, to the completion of the great hyper-style hall at Karnak, his building projects were designed to awe and intimidate. They were a declaration that his power, and the power of Egypt, was as permanent and unshakable as the mountains themselves. For our final subject, we travel to the Indian subcontinent, to the powerful Mauryan Empire. Here we find a story of transformation unlike any other, the story of Emperor Ashoka. He began his reign as a conqueror in the traditional mold, known as Ashoka the Fierce. Driven by a desire to expand his empire, he waged a brutal and bloody war to conquer the state of Kalinga. The campaign was a resounding success in military terms, but the cost in human life was catastrophic, leaving a deep and permanent scar on the emperor's conscience. The sheer scale of the slaughter at Kalinga precipitated a profound spiritual crisis in Ashoka. Overwhelmed by remorse, he underwent a complete metamorphosis. He renounced violent conquest and embraced the teachings of Buddhism, a philosophy of peace, compassion, and non-violence. This was a radical departure for a ruler of a vast and powerful empire. He traded his sword for the Dharma, the cosmic law and order, and dedicated the rest of his reign to ruling with righteousness and benevolence. His transformation was complete. Ashoka's new mission was to spread peace. He erected thousands of stupas and pillars across his empire, inscribed with his edicts promoting tolerance, justice for his people, and protection for all living things. These pillars were the public service announcements of their day, a testament to his newfound faith. He sent Buddhist missionaries as far as Greece and Egypt, transforming a local Indian sect into what would become a major world religion. Ashoka's power is unique on our list. It was the power to change not just his empire, but himself, and in doing so, to shape the spiritual destiny of millions. From the Mongol steppes to the banks of the Nile, from the courts of France to the plains of India, we have witnessed the immense and varied nature of royal power. These rulers left legacies that still echo through history. Genghis Khan redrew the map of the world. Louis XIV defined the nature of the state. Alexander spread a culture across continents. Ramses built for eternity. And Ashoka showed that the greatest power can be the strength to choose peace. Their stories are a powerful reminder of how individual ambition and vision can shape the destiny of nations. Each of these kings wielded a different kind of influence. Some ruled through fear and the sharp edge of a sword, creating vast but sometimes fragile empires. Others, through cultural gravity, propaganda, or spiritual conversion, built legacies that resonated long after their military power had faded. They were products of their unique environments, yet they also rose above them, becoming forces of nature in their own right, shaping the human landscape around them for centuries, even millennia to come. Their reigns are not just chapters in a history book, but deep imprints on the DNA of our modern world. The question of who was the most powerful is a complex one. Is it the one who conquered the most land? The one who ruled the longest? The one whose ideas traveled the furthest? The answer depends on how one defines power itself. And so, I turn the question to you. Having journeyed with us through these remarkable lives, who do you believe was the most powerful king, and why? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let us continue the conversation. Thank you for joining me.